Subscribe if you value the strength of the human spirit. In the coastal town of Oakhaven, the Grand Cathedral's pipe organ was considered the voice of God. It was a massive, golden instrument that required a master's touch, but for years, it had remained silent. The town's elite, led by a cold-hearted mayor named Silas, refused to hire anyone who didn't come from a prestigious lineage. To Silas, image was everything, and the cathedral was the crown jewel of his perfect city. Living in the shadow of that cathedral was Leo, a 19-year-old who lived in the basement of a damp orphanage. Leo was quiet, reclusive, and always wore thick, oversized wool gloves, even in the heat of summer. The other boys teased him, calling him the puppet because of the stiff way he moved. But every night, when the town fell asleep, Leo would sneak into the cathedral's loft. He didn't need sheet music. He played by the memory of the wind and the rhythm of the waves hitting the cliffs. One evening, a famous music critic was passing through Oakhaven and heard a melody so hauntingly beautiful it stopped him in his tracks. The music didn't just sound like notes, it sounded like a soul weeping and soaring all at once. The critic pounded on the mayor's door, demanding to know who the maestro was. Silas, smelling a PR opportunity, lied instantly. He claimed he had hired a secret virtuoso to perform at the upcoming winter gala. The problem was, Silas had no idea who was playing. He set a trap, hiding in the confession booth the following night. When the music began to swell, a masterpiece of light and shadow, Silas leapt out and grabbed the player by the collar. He was shocked to find the puppet from the orphanage. "You?" Silas hissed. "You're going to play at the gala. You'll wear a mask and a tuxedo. You won't speak. If you tell anyone who you are, I'll shut down the orphanage for good." Leo agreed, not for fame, but to keep a roof over the only family he knew. On the night of the gala, the cathedral was packed with the wealthiest families in the country. Leo sat at the organ, hidden behind a velvet curtain and a silver mask. He began to play. The music was so powerful that grown men began to sob. It told a story of abandonment, of cold nights, and of a flickering hope that refused to die. The audience was mesmerized. They cheered for the mysterious genius, throwing roses at the curtain. Like this video if you believe that talent is a gift, but character is a choice. The mayor stepped onto the stage, beaming. "Tonight, we have witnessed perfection. Only a man of the highest breeding could produce such art." He reached back and pulled the curtain open, gesturing for Leo to stand. "Show them your face, maestro." Leo stood, but he didn't just take off the mask. He slowly pulled off his thick wool gloves. The front row gasped, and a wave of horrified silence swept back through the pews. Leo's hands were a map of scars, twisted and gnarled from a fire at the orphanage years ago that he had stayed back to fight, saving 3 toddlers. His fingers were fused at odd angles, looking nothing like the elegant hands of a pianist. The mayor's smile vanished. "Cover those up," he whispered frantically. "You're ruining the moment." But Leo didn't cover them. He held his scarred hands high for the elite to see. "You love the music," Leo's voice cracked the silence, "but you hate the hands that made it. You wanted the beauty, but you're disgusted by the sacrifice it took to create it." The critic stood up, clapping until his palms were red. Soon, the entire cathedral followed. They realized that the music wasn't beautiful despite the scars, it was beautiful because of them. The mayor was forced to resign after the public learned he had threatened the orphanage, and Leo used the donations from that night to build a school where every child, no matter their perfection, was taught that their wounds were their greatest strengths. The world focuses on the polish, but the soul focuses on the polish of the struggle. Never let your outward appearance dictate your inward value. Comment the word resilience if you believe beauty comes from the struggle. Subscribe if you choose to see the heart instead of the mask.